Now, I've got this cut out and I have done my test, and it's interesting how changed things can be when you use interfacing, because here's my thin, limp fabric that's a t-shirt, and I have put a little bit of interfacing, a little piece of interfacing on these two pieces. One is the weave looking one that stretches 8 ways, and sometimes I think, oh yeah, that would be the best thing because it stretches, but it also curls the fabric. If you notice on the ends, see how it curls up? And this one was the soft loft, or the woven one that I talked about, that just had a loose weave on the back side. And this one is still soft, and it also is nice and flat. And I like it because it doesn't make it feel hard. This one is actually, it's not hard feeling, but it's actually stiffer than, and then it makes it not as, it's not as nice a pillow for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make something that somebody could hug and love because they lost their loved one who had this shirt. And I don't wash it beforehand because I also think people like to hold on to the smell of someone when they've lost them. So that's a couple of things that you want to consider. And even sometimes you get little spots, like there's a little spot on the back of this. And I just decided it's okay. That spot's going to stay there, or I can go in and embellish something. But the whole point of this one that I'm doing is to make a memory of someone who I've lost. Not necessarily like a t-shirt that somebody had, like gym shirt or something, and it was their number and you want to keep it as a memento. So there's a little difference in what we're doing. Now, I took the bottom part of this and I had to take the hem out because I want to have enough length to go ahead and use this as a fringe. But I don't have to do this as a fringe. I could just do it as a piping or whatever. And so I have to make sure that this is going to go around twice, or actually once around, but more than, I need to have an extra on the end so that I can actually make it so that it doesn't turn and kind of dimple up on the corners. So I've made I wanted 2 lengths, and so I took the hem out so I'd have enough. And again, it's okay, that's all going to come out in the end, because here is the pillow, and do you see, this is just like fringe, so it stretches away and you're not going to notice that was creased or marked or something on the end. So basically I just folded it in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half so that I have 2 pieces, so that I have enough length to go around this whole thing. So I'm following that line, and then I'm going to have to kind of true off that edge at the top because the hem kind of stretched here and there. So I just want to go in and just cut it the same. And then once I get done, I'm going to join one of the both of these, and actually you wouldn't even have to join them with a seam. Let me see what I did with this one. I actually just took it to the end. Do you see? And then just started again. So you want to, on this one, see all the ends, I went ahead and pleated just a little pleat there so that it would go around the corner. So So once I got this done, and if I decided I wanted to join it or whatever I want to do, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But now let me show you something that could be helpful. You could just come in here, and you don't want to cut a 1/2 inch from the edge of the finished edge. You want to make sure that you have this as a platform to hold it together so that you sew it in like a trim of any kind. So you want to be sure that you leave that right there. And I have this is a tool that I like because it already has this markings for every 1/2 inch. Now if you don't have this tool, that's not a problem. You can go in and cut it, but this is actually a fringe cutter. It's called Fringe Cut, and it's by June Taylor. And because of the holes, and you see this isn't exactly straight, but you know what? It's not going to bother me at all. Because it's got these holes right here, and I'm hoping that you can see these, you can actually get your rotary cutter in the hole and go out just like that. And so you would basically be able to stop at the end, or you can go the other way. But the hole is made so that you can begin at the beginning. And so I don't want to start right on the end and start my trim, because I want to have a little bit of an edge to it. And then once you do that, I'm just going to show you what happens. So let's say I'm going to just show you this from this standpoint here, so that you can kind of see what happens when I get the fringe done. So this will cut me every 1/2 inch. And there's actually a 1/4 inch one, but it makes very, very narrow fringe. So I'm going to cut all of these. And sometimes a smaller rotary cutter is more helpful. And always be sure you have a mat underneath. Okay, so now let's just pretend I've got that piece done. And so now, do you see what I just did? I just cut all of those exactly the width I need. And so now, when I pull this, it curls. Do you see what's happening? So what you do is you go in there and you pull these down, and as you pull them down, they become longer and more narrow. And so what I have now is fringe, and of course the more you wash it, the more it curls up too. And so now what I'll do is I'll inset this, because this should be about a 1/2 inch. I cut this a little bit wider, and I'm going to insert this just as if it were piping. So I'm going to go around. Let me make this a 1/2 inch, about a 1/2 inch, so you can see a little better. Okay, so now I'm going to go around, and I'm going to stitch this just to the top. I'm going to stitch this just to the top, and I'm going to go all the way around, and then when I get to the end, I'm going to just crisscross the ends at the end, cut them off, and then I've got this on just like fringe or piping. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to turn this. And what I do once I get that done, I lay this down and I put some tape over top of it. The painter's tape, the kind that comes out, off real easily. And then I will take this and put them together, stitch around it. Because the painter tape's on there, none of the fringe will work its way out to the edge of the seam. And then I'm going to turn it, but I will leave a little spot right on the bottom between here and here, and I will turn it, then stuff it, and then whip this done. And your fringe will come out like this. And I'm going to stuff it and then whip it shut. And so I think at the bottom here, I ended up stitching that. There you go.